Hello and welcome. Thank you for attending this webinar, the third in our Certifications and Contracting series. Today, we're addressing identifying contract opportunities in New York and beyond. I'm your moderator, Jenny Alton, from the New York Small Business Development Center Central Office. Your presenter today is our own Gina Hayduk, Government Contracting Coordinator for the NYS BDC. This webinar is brought to you by the New York Small Business Development Center network of 20 campus-based centers and many more outreach offices located across New York State, along with a central office based in Albany. The NYS BDC is a U.S. Small Business Administration resource partner. Our free advising, education, research, and advocacy services are made possible by funding from the SBA, New York State, and our host campuses. So you know, this session is being recorded. We will share a link to the recording and the slides with attendees in the next few days in a follow-up email. Attendees are muted and will not be on camera today. If you have any questions during the presentation, please don't hesitate to type them in the Q&A box as they come up. You can open Zoom's Q&A box from the Q&A button at the bottom of your Zoom window. We'll save questions for a Q&A session at the end of the presentation materials so that Gina can present everything first, and then we can launch into a full question and answer session. And with that, I will turn the time over to Gina.
Thank you, Jenny. I am going to take off my screen so that way you all can hear me and not be distracted. So here we go. As Jenny stated, this is the third and last installment of our summer series, and we will explore the New York State and federal procurement and subcontracting options. I'm here to tell you that there's a lot jam-packed in here. I'm going to try to go through it a little quickly because some things are you have to dig deeper into, but I want to touch on stuff so that your ideas and your mind can start thinking of what you will need. Oh, there we go. The New York State Office of General Services is known as the OGS and is a very diverse organization comprised of several business units. You can see the 5 units under the blue banner at the top of the OGS homepage, and I put them here. It's a real estate, design and construction, procurement, government support and resilience, and sustainability. We will focus today on the centralized procurement group and the design and construction group because that is our focus for today's webinar. And this is where the opportunities are. The centralized procurement group administers what are called centralized state contracts that are used by state agencies and others. And the design and construction group is primarily, of course, for construction contractors and consultants and also architects. Here's a breakdown of what each tab can provide, and we'll navigate a bit in a few minutes just so you can see. But no matter which tab you look at, you will find contracts to bid on in the future, excuse me, opportunities to watch in the present, and those contracts you might want to help you with that have been awarded in the past. OGS Procurement Services is the state centralized procurement office. They solicitate, administer, and manage approximately 1,500 contracts valued over $29 billion on behalf of authorized contract users, including state agencies and authorities, local governments, school districts, college and universities, and other qualified nonprofit organizations. The contract offerings include a wide range of commodity services, technology available at competitive, volume discounted, reduced price while maintaining statutory compliance. Procurement services also educates vendors and public purchasers regarding how to participate effectively in state procurement processes. The OGS Design and Construction Group, which is the DNC, is a 500-person organization with approximately 75 licensed professional engineers and registered architects on staff. The core group uses the resources available through professional and service contracts to deliver a broad range of capital construction services. Acting as New York State's architect, DNC has a current workload of approximately $1.3 billion in active construction projects and approximately $2 million in design development, with approximately 70% of DNC's output contracted to the private sector. DNC depends on a strong public-private partnership to support their client agency's core mission in serving the people of New York. State agencies purchase commodities, services, and technologies to address a wide range of needs. To meet these varying needs, agencies are mandated to make purchases in the following order. 1, preferred sources. 2, centralized state contracts. 3, agency or multi-agency contracts. And then 4, agencies can conduct its own procurement, including discretionary spending, once the others have been exhausted. New York State's preferred source was created to advance certain social and economic goals. State agencies, public benefit corporations, including most public authorities, municipalities, and school districts are required by law to purchase commodities and services from preferred sources first, if a preferred source offering meets the agency's form, function, and utility. And they use those words a lot, so you'll hear them. Commodities or services purchased from preferred sources are exempt from the competitive bid process. There are 3 preferred source organizations in New York State: the New York State Department of Corrections and Community Supervision, and its Division of Industries. Corecraft is the controlling interest and provides employment opportunities for inmates. New York State Preferred Source Program for people who are blind and provide employment opportunities for blind and visually impaired New Yorkers. And then third, the New York State Industry for the Disabled, which provides employment opportunities for both disabled New Yorkers and veterans. While it is not possible for any private business to become a preferred source, it is possible for a business to partner with a preferred source. Contracts meet a broad range of commodities, services, and technologies that fit the form, function, and utility requirements of contract users. Generally, a centralized contract is established through an open, competitive bid process among eligible businesses for the purpose of commodities. Service and technology contracts are procured using best value. In addition to the state agencies, centralized contracts are also used by state authorities and public benefit corporations, local governments and municipalities, public and private elementary and secondary schools, volunteer ambulance and fire companies, libraries, and any authorized users. Agencies or multi-agency contracts are contracts established by an agency or multiple agencies to procure an ongoing basis and are usually in effect for multiple years. The purchasing agency must determine if such a contract exists that meets its form, function, and utility requirements. Like I said, we're going to hear those words a lot. And if the contract is structured to allow for interagency use. The first 3 methods are not used, then the agency can advertise the opportunity on the contract reporter. So in other words, it goes through these different levels, and then once they've exhausted all, they can go to the contract reporter, and that's where we were in our last seminar. When the agency requirements cannot be met through a preferred source, centralized contract, or other existing agency contract, agencies may conduct their own procurement. This type of procurement may be either a formal competitive bid process or discretionary spending purchase, depending on the value of the procurement. Discretionary purchases are procurements made below statutorily established monetary levels and at the discretion of the agencies. While discretionary purchases may not require a formal competitive procedure, Agencies must document and justify the selection and responsibility of the vendor, including responsibility of price, compliance with the internal agency, policies and procedures, and assurance that purchases meet form, function, and utility requirements. Important things to know is that the use of discretionary spending streamlines the procurement process. The discretionary purchase authority threshold is generally $50,000 for most of the state agency purchases, with some exceptions. Discretionary levels can increase to $500,000 when state agencies are purchasing from New York State Certified Minority or Women-Owned Business Enterprise, which is the MWBE, small business, or the Service Disabled Veteran-Owned Business, so it's the SDVOB. Commodities or technologies that are recycled or remanufactured and state agency purchased for $50,000 or more must be advertised on the New York State Contract Reporter. Okay, I realize this is a bit hard to read, but it is a great place to go and find all the thresholds next to each other. The important part of the slide is the link, and you'll be getting the slides with which will have the link. So you can pull it up at any time. As things do change, you can see exactly where everything is in comparison to each other. Okay, now we'll look at some areas of procurement within the Office of General Services, which I alluded to before. In the drop-down under procurement and selecting bid opportunities, you will find the bid calendar and the opportunities available. And I've shown you a screenshot here. Another interesting selection in the drop-down is the contracts. This is where you can find the OGS centralized contracts that have been awarded. A great place to see if a company can use you as a subcontractor, which we've been talking about quite frequently. Now, this is the New York State Open Book, and we've talked about subcontracting and finding opportunities through Open Book New York. So the next few slides are a depiction of how to accomplish that. This is the website in the area where to find the contracts. Once you hit search, you will see the search criteria. But first, you will need the information. In the contract reporter from our last webinar, you will choose bid results / awards, which I've noted here, and choose the contract that you want to search. Click on the view bid / awards, and the screen will pop up with the needed information. As you can see, I've kind of connected everything here. Note which number is needed for the contract number. Although the contract number on the contract reporter is very long, it's the number in the middle. So with this information, you'll go to the search screen from the 2 slides ago that I had talked about, and enter the contract number of the awardee, which is what they consider the vendor name. And there it is. With the click on the vendor name, you will have the contact information to see if you'd like to if they'd like to work with you as a subcontractor. So that was just a way to show you how everything connects itself and how to go about it. We're going to go through the federal side of contracting. It is a larger undertaking, so I'm going to just hit on the things, like I said, so you can have the slides to look back on, and if you need to dig deeper. Here we go. There are several methods that the government uses to buy products and services. Excuse me. A contract officer will determine the approximate cost of the purchase and then utilize the appropriate method. The very simplest purchase totaling $100 is a relatively easy purchase transaction. With a complex $1 million contract, it is subject to regulations and competitive procedures. You can see that the methods are separated in 3 categories: micro purchases, simplified acquisition procedures, and formal or large contract procedures. We'll be going over each group. Micro purchases may be awarded without soliciting competitive quotations if the contracting officer considers the price to be reasonable. The purchase must be distributed equally among qualified suppliers to the maximum extent practical. And that, of course, is subjective. Some of the purchases can be purchased through the government-wide commercial purchasing card, which is also authorized for use in making and or paying for purchases or supplies, services, or construction. I'm sorry. Had a little bit of a rasp in my voice today. I apologize. The card may be used only for purchases that are otherwise authorized by law or regulation. The impressed fund. This is a cash fund of a fixed amount established by an advance of funds, which without charge to an appropriation. So from an agency, finance, or distributing officer to a duly appointed cashier for disbursement as needed from time to time and making payments in cash for relatively small amounts. So the impressed fund transactions do not exceed $500 or as approved by the agency head. The third-party draft is an agency bank draft similar to a check, and that is used to acquire and pay for supplies and services. The third-party draft transactions do not exceed $2,500 unless authorized at a higher level in accordance with the treasurer restrictions. Excuse me. The next type of contract methods is simplified acquisition procedures. And the acquisition purchase for the contract officer I'm sorry. Trying not to sneeze, and I apologize. Let me start again. These acquisitions for purchases that the contract officer projects will be between $10,000 and $250,000. And they follow the rule of two. And the rule of two is from the FAR, which we've talked about in prior webinars. And the rule of two states that each acquisition of supplies or services that has an anticipated dollar value exceeding $10,000, but not over $250,000, is automatically reserved exclusively for small business concerns and shall be set aside for small business concerns unless the contracting officer determines that there is not a reasonable expectation of obtaining offers from two or more responsible small businesses that are competitive in a term of market price, quality, and delivery. So that's basically saying, as everything is with the federal government and federal contracting, a lot of things are subject to discretion. Simplified acquisition methods consist of the purchase orders, unpriced purchase orders, blanket purchase agreements, and requests for quote or information. And we'll look at these next. Purchase order generally are issued on a fixed price basis, an offer by the government to buy supplies or services, including construction and research and development upon specific terms and conditions, using simplified acquisition procedures. Unpriced purchase orders may be used only when it is impractical to obtain pricing in advance of issuing the purchase order. And there are times when it is more expedient for a buyer to issue a blanket purchase agreement for the same product over and over again. So a blank purchase agreement are authorized when exact quantities or delivery dates are not known ahead of time. So the purchasing method is also used with several departments within one agency needs to make a purchase, again, eliminating the need for multiple purchases. And the benefits are, it simplifies the filling of recurring needs, it leverages the customer's buying power by taking advantage of quantity discounts, and it saves administrative time and reduces paperwork. When a government agency is looking into the possibility of acquiring a product or service, a request for quote may be issued. An RFQ communicates the government's needs to prospective contractors and solicits prices. A quote received in response to an RFQ is not considered an offer, and a contract is established when a supplier accepts the government's offer to purchase products and services. Contracts of more than 250,000 or more fall into the formal or large contract category. They are accomplished through one of these three methods: sealed bidding, which is the IFP, B, contract negotiations, which is the RFP, and consolidated purchasing and other programs. A sealed bid is an invitation for bid or IFP. That this method is used when purchase requirements are very specific. Contract negotiation or request for proposal is used when factors other than the lowest price should be considered. And the consolidated purchasing program are found on the GSA service, GSA, and they're larger, so I'm not going to get into those. It is at a level on the contract that can be set aside for a certain type of business. Set asides means that the contract will be awarded to one of these types of businesses. And I've listed them here. They are interactive. So when we have gone through those a couple times in some of these webinars, so I put them here for everyone to get a look-see. Each federal agency has a statutory annual goal for awarding contract dollars to particular groups of contractors. As a contracting official, you're responsible for bidding contracts that can do work and meet your agency goals. And here are some of the goals. On the federal side, the location tool is the USA spending and has a search option. The search is a little more intricate and will need more information on a case-by-case basis. So I've given you the website, and if that is something someone needs help with, I can discuss later. Oh, I'm sorry, this one kind of got away with me. Along with searching for contracts to help as a subcontractor, here are some of the useful ways to obtain subcontracting opportunities. You can attend matchmaker events, and we just had one in Albany last month. And it's a conference that provides business owners with a forum to discuss potential contracting opportunities face-to-face with representatives from federal, state, and local agencies, colleges, and the nation's largest corporations. It's a minimal fee. It's statewide, and it can be national. It's mostly virtual, but they have now, like I said, we just had one, and they're starting to become more face-to-face. And primes attend matchmaker events. They find out ahead of time who will be there, and they make appointments. They have a marketing handout to be able to give to buyers. It's best for you to do the same. Have a marketing handout, give it to them so they can see you as your resume. You can include your company name, website, contact information, locations, small business categories, your cage code, NAICS codes, capabilities, your certifications, your quality control standards, your government contracts, which is state, federal, local, anything you've done and have been successful with, your commercial and or government references. And there are also matchmakers events that will be held across the country. Also attend trade shows and industry days, or contact the small business liaison officer for the large business. So if every large business that is conducting a contract will have a small business liaison officer, and you can find them on the subcontractor directories or the prime contractor's website. And also request to be added to the list of suppliers. Understand the prime. Understand that you can provide additional critical capabilities, not competing with the prime's internal capabilities. So always show what value you can bring. The business development person can get you to the right people. They are always looking to make contacts. Never go to the end customer without the prime being there. In other words, like anything else, don't go behind their back. And here are some of the things that can help you. I have listed some websites that might give you options. There's many out there. These I know I have used, I've looked through. They're all clickable, as you can see, and then you will receive, when you receive the slide deck, you can click on these. Okay. I know I went fast, and I know I said a lot, but I wanted to give you all time to ask questions. I do see that there's many. Jenny, take it away.
Hi, Gina. Okay, so we would love to have your questions in the Q&A box. If you would like to ask something specific of Gina. And as a reminder, everyone will get a copy of these slides, a PDF copy, along with a link to the recording in a follow-up email in the next couple of days. So you'll be able to come in, click on all of these links that Gina has been talking about, and then go back to anything in Gina's presentation that you want to go over again. So let's get into some questions then. And our first question is, this person has received certification for MBE and WBE and wants to know about contracts for blood drawing service and drug testing. So I did mention to this person already that we are going to be hosting throughout the fall a series of procurement opportunities webinars. And in September, our focus is going to be healthcare. So we're going to,
NYSP.
I know. So we are going to have on the 12th of September, a webinar for Central and Western New York, and that will feature UPMC and Upstate Medical. And so I can drop the link for that event into the chat if you are interested in that. As well, we're going to have another one for the New York City and Long Island area. And the date, we're still trying to get schedules worked out with presenters for that one. We do have New York City Health and Hospitals on board, and hopefully a couple other organizations that will present in that one. And so I have a pre-registration list for that event. If you wish to sign up and then get details on that webinar in your inbox, once we have those dates set, I will drop that link for the pre-registration in the chat as well. But other ones that will be coming up, we will be having one in October on the SUNY and CUNY procurement systems. And then we hope to have a few other topics throughout the rest of the year. So I just wanted to let all of you know, hey, these webinars are going to be coming up. A great way to stay informed about these webinars is to join our newsletter mailing list. And we put all of these webinars into that mailing list. So I will drop a link if you have not already signed up for our newsletter mailing list, that you can go and put yourself on that list, because we would love to have you there and be able to inform you of these webinars as they approach in the fall months coming up here. Okay, so Gina, back to your question, because I totally took over that answer for a second,
Okay.
but I wanted everybody to know about the upcoming series.
I appreciate that, because you're the keeper of that.
Yes. So go ahead and take it away on blood draw services, drug testing.
Okay, so I don't have that completely, those type of things. I can't drill down for you in a broad sense. But two things: if you are a client of ours, we do have a bid matching system that can find you those things. If you are not a client of ours, I have the screen up, and it will be on the slide deck. You can become a client, and and it's free. Becoming a client and being on our bid match system is all free. So that is where I think you will be able to get what you need.
Okay, and I will drop the link for becoming a client of ours in the chat as well. So lots of links coming your way in the chat momentarily. And Gina, I don't see your email address on this slide. Do you mind dropping that in the chat? I know there's someone who was asking for a contact for you.
The reason why I didn't put it in there, because it tended to confuse.
Gotcha.
Because you have to become a client first.
Right. You do need to become a client for official services, but if you have a question that you want to ask Gina, are we able to help with this scenario that your
Yep.
particular business has, etc., go ahead and email Gina. She'll be glad to give you a little bit of information, and then you can sign up and become a client at a link that I will share very soon in the chat. I'm trying to grab all of these links and get them in the chat for you as quickly as I can. But you sign up for services with your local center, and then all of our local centers work with Gina for procurement. And so you will have access to Gina through signing up at your local center.
Yes.
Okay. Lots of links. Like I said, I'm coming with the links, I promise. So next question.
Yes.
So this person has a family daycare. Any recommendations on resources for this type of business?
Yes, a little bit. One of the things I would say is to go to your Chamber of Commerce, because there's a lot of daycares that are, in having the family daycare, there's a lot of regulations. I don't know specifically, it depends on where you are too. So, I hate to say become a client, in our business advisors could probably help you. And you can also contact me. What is the bold question? Is that all it is? Just wondering what to do, what options there are?
What would you recommend I approach, or how would you recommend I approach these resources?
For that's a tough one. I don't want to, I say, give me a call and send me an email and we'll talk, because I think that's best way. Because I'll have to dig deeper to make sure I have everything you need.
Excellent. So that attendee, make sure that you grab Gina's email address in the chat. It's there. Okay, next question. If you have other business ideas to offer the city, how do you find out what type of business services and products the city usually offers contracts for?
The city's website usually has what's out there, what they're contracting for. Any contract that's for public bid has to be broadcasted somewhere. And most of the time, smaller cities, towns, villages, they will have it on their website because it has to be publicized. Sometimes the words don't come to me. So I would say that would be your best bet. After that, we do, on the bid matching system, it does search all right down to the town. In New York State, it's 750 websites, and in the United States, it is almost 3,000. So there's options, in basically start at your town, city, village, and go from there.
All right, so I have dropped the links for that Western and Central New York Healthcare Procurement webinar, the pre-registration for the New York City and Long Island Healthcare Procurement webinar, as well as our newsletters, our educational newsletters, where you can stay informed on all of our upcoming events, into the chat. Momentarily, I will have the link for signing up for services. As a reminder, our services are high quality and no cost because we are a government funded program. So we're able to do that for you. And so you would use that link, sign up for services with your local center, and then they are able to work with Gina for all procurement clients. Okay. Let's go to the next question. This person is a minority woman-owned business established, or has a minority woman-owned business established, that specializes in project and product management, as well as data analysis. So are there subcontracting opportunities in these areas?
I would have to say yes, but I can't, like I said, it's hard for me to drill down until I actually do the search for those specific things. My first thought would be to search those options on the contract reporter. Because those are type of things I think you would need, that would be needed in the New York State realm, but that's where I would start.
Okay. So I just dropped that link into the chat for signing up for no cost services with our local centers, and they all work with Gina for procurement. Okay, so our next question here, we have someone attending today who would like to get a business built up around subcontracting on pension plans and administrative support. So what suggestions do you have for this area of procurement?
I know I sound like a broken record. When it comes to anything like that, I would have to say that you might want to go through the bid matching system to see if there's anything out there. Because a lot of these things, and I know that everybody, you know, you have your concern in, but it's hard to know. I can't see that without having the data come in. So if you're a client and you have a specific niche, you want to know what's out there, the best way is to see what your criteria will net you from the bid matching system, and then we can decide how to go from there. But I don't have an ability to just look and see on each type of work.
Got it. Okay, and just as a reminder, that bid match service is no cost as well. Your tax dollars at work. So we would love to have you become a client and be able to help you find those exact opportunities for what your specific business is looking at.
And I'd like to say too, though, just so
Yeah.
everybody understands, I do support the 20 different centers. When you apply, because you may not come to my center, because I am in upstate New York, but you will go to the center that's closest to you for many reasons. One, you never know if there's some kind of business information that you need, and you would get a business advisor to help you. Also, a lot of the business advisors have been trained and advised by me, so they can take you through the bid matching. They can get you started into, and then when they hit a glitch, they'll come to me. So you're getting not only me, but the whole system in the center that you belong in. So that way you have people local who know what's going on and have me as their resource. So you will be able to talk to me if you need to. You'll be able to get anything that I have helped the business advisors to understand to help you.
Right. It's the best of both worlds.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got the local information, and then you've got Gina's expertise with procurement as well. So let me see. So that did answer a question that someone had. Hey, if I'm in Queens, can you work with me? Absolutely, yes. We have 2 centers in Queens, Queens York and Queens LaGuardia. So sign up with whichever one is closest to you, and then they'll be able to assist you with anything local, general business needs, and Gina can assist you with procurement expertise added on to all of that.
Yeah.
All right. So let me see here. I want to scroll through and make sure I'm grabbing some questions. We had a question about someone who is just starting out and wanting to figure all this out. So what I'm going to do, if you weren't on our previous webinars, I'm going to drop the playlist for this series into the chat. And so go back and look at those webinars if you have not already watched them yet. One was on the qualifications for MWBE and WOSB certification. And then the other was on the New York State Contract Reporter. And so that will give you some great information to add to what you've seen today, because I know this was the third webinar in the series. And so the information was kind of built upon those first two webinars in this series. So today may have seemed like a lot if you missed those first few webinars. So do go back and check out that series playlist and see those other webinars to give you some more information. And then, of course, if you become a client, your advisor and Gina will be happy to walk you step by step, holding your hand through this certification process. And Gina, did you want to mention the Sail Through Summer program that's going on right now? I know.
Oh my goodness.
I knew it was about to come. So,
you could tell I was
go
just
ahead.
Yep. So I don't know who on here has already started their MWBE certification. If you're in the middle of it, if you have thought about it, but right now they have the ESD has a program that is partnered with me, and it's called Sail Through Summer, and we are in August 7th. It goes through August 30th, so we're about a month in, but it still can be done. You have to have worked with me or one of our business advisors who will go through me to make sure that you have everything that you need. And we are seeing clients that I have assisted apply for their MWBE, and the turnaround is coming in 3, 5, 7 days, where on a normal basis, it takes 90 to 120 days. So it's a pilot program. And because I will tell you if I think you don't qualify. I am not going to set you up for a fail. I also you may not get qualified, even though I think you will, but I will also fight for it. But if you go through me and I've looked at everything, they find that that's the first step of the process. So it's helping a lot of people. We're getting a lot of people certified. So it's a great program. It's a lot, but it's a lot of work. And that's why I say, I will tell you right off if I think you're not going to make it, because I don't want you to go through all that work for nothing.
Okay, I am dropping a link in the chat for that Sail Through Summer series. And the flyer, it says a much longer time span. What Gina just told you is what's actually occurring right now with this special program that we have with ESD to expedite approvals. So take a look at that in the chat if you are interested in getting in on this expedited process for approval here through the end of the month. It's called the Sail Through Summer program.
Yes.
Okay, so we had several questions more about some specific types of businesses. So web development. We also have an eatery. Let's see, a few others. Freight brokering. So again, the best way to start finding out about opportunities that are available would be to get in the bid match system, correct?
Correct. And
okay.
and that also too, because if you get in the bid match system, you can see if you're thinking about being a certification. If you want to get your certification, you can see the contracts that they're coming through looking for people who are certified. It'll help you understand. So
right. So and even to clarify too, if someone is not yet certified or doesn't have a contract yet, is brand new certified, they are able to join the bid match system, correct, Gina?
anyone.
Okay, anyone.
If you're a client of ours and you have an idea in your head, I think that's the best time, because then you can see if there's really anything out there for you. And maybe it's a hobby, not a job. You know what I mean? So this gives you an idea what's out there.
Okay. So yeah, even if you're just starting out, not certified yet, become a
All of it.
client, get in that bid match system so you can start finding out what will be available to you once you are certified. All
And
right.
even if you don't get certified or shouldn't get certified, it still is good for you, the bid
Right.
match.
Because the contracts aren't just available to certified businesses.
Right. They want a warm body at times.
Right. Someone needed to fulfill it. Yes. Got it. So we had a couple of questions regarding Long Island. Yes, we do have 2 centers in Long Island, both fantastic. One is Farmingdale and one is Stony Brook. And so if you go to that locations link that I dropped in the chat a little bit ago, I'll drop it again right now. That will show you our list of centers around the state. Click on the one that is nearest to you, and then you'll see an online form link. Click there, and you'll be able to go through that registration process for whatever area you're in, Long Island, wherever in the state. Okay, let me see. Someone, by the way, did mention, Gina, I just wanted to say that they heard you speak at the Matchmaker event a few weeks ago. It was very informative and wanted to say thank you for the panel you did.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
And speaking of that Matchmaker event, so is that typically held once a year? Or how often?
Pre-COVID.
Yeah.
It was. And there were a couple. They'd be, you know, centralized locations, but around the state. So in an effort to get it back up and running and, you know, trying to find normalcy, we put this one on. So hopefully there are going to be more. And we will promote them on our newsletter. And hopefully it's a great opportunity to see what's out there. You are able to sign up with a Prime and have you know, even just a 15-minute conversation. That's why that one slide I had said to put all the stuff on a capability statement, and they need a one-stop shop so they can see. They don't need, you know, they can see what's going on, and that's when, you know, you get that face-to-face one-on-one.
Okay. So we had somebody who submitted saying they wanted to find out, Peggy, I will check into your inquiry. So thank you for letting me know. This person wants to make sure that they can get transferred to their local center. So I will look into that for you, Peggy. All right, we had somebody who said, what if you have this scenario? If you propose a project to a municipality and they say, great, we'll sponsor your idea. What are your next steps in that situation?
Yeah, if that's the case, if they want to sponsor your idea, then your next steps are to ask, what do you need from me and what can you help me with? Because they're going to probably want to put some skin in the game. So you need to know, what are the boundaries? And also ask them, have you done this with someone before? In yes or no. And if it's yes, ask who it is. Talk to that person. Get the how-to wherefores. You're muted.
Hold on. All right. Thank you.
No problem.
Okay, so we have somebody who is in Rockland County and wants to be sure how they can become part of the bid match system, be notified about matchmakers, etc. So we have a Rockland Center. Yep. And so go to that nysbdc.org/locations link that I have dropped in the chat, and click on the Rockland Center, and you'll be able to sign up with them and then get connected to our bid match service and start getting those emails that will come directly to your inbox with those various opportunities that might be a fit for your business. Okay.
Just so
yes, go ahead.
everybody understands, when it comes to the locations, we do not have any dead zones. So wherever you live, from the tip top to the very bottom of New York State, you will have a center that will cover you, will support you. And so there, even in some organizations that are out there doing other things, not even our type of work, there's some dead zones, whatever. We do not have any dead zones. You will have somebody help you.
Right.
So that helps.
Yes, and our centers also do online appointments as well. So if it's difficult for you to be able to come in person, we know that sometimes you just can't get away from your business long enough to drive somewhere or, ride the subway or whatever to get into a center. And so our centers do offer online appointments as well, if that is of greater convenience to you. Sometimes you really want to talk to someone face to face, and it's helpful to be there right with the person. But if a New York, or if a, depending on where you are at in New York and what your schedule is like, we do have those online appointments to fit your schedule and your needs.
Yes.
Okay, let me see. So we have a few more minutes for questions. If anyone has more questions, let's see. Oh, and there are a few more thank yous in the Q&A box and the chat. So I'm passing those along to you, Gina.
Thank you.
All right.
And I just want to say, I don't know, I'm sorry if you have another.
Oh,
I just
no,
want
please,
to say,
please.
This was a summer thing. If there's anything you want to see broadly, because there's a questionnaire at the end, correct, Jenny?
Yes, we do have an evaluation after the webinar.
And I think, is there something in there to
you can
tell us?
enter topics that you're
Yes,
interested
that's what I
in.
thought.
Yes.
Feeling. Enter some topics. I will give it some look-see. I do have, a packed fall, but if there's something that I can start putting together for maybe the winter, kind of do a summer winter thing, I would be willing to do that. So give us some feedback. Excuse me. Let us know if there's something you're looking for on top of coming in and just talking with us.
Right. And remember, so this fall we're bringing in diversity supplier representatives from various organizations, including healthcare and the university systems, and then hopefully food and entertainment industry as well. So do sign up for our emails. Our it's called the Business Learning Lab newsletter, and I dropped the link for that in the chat already. I will put it in the chat again right now, but that is a great way to stay informed because we'll have all of these events in our newsletters and they'll show up in your inbox, so you don't have to track them down. All right, we have a question. Is there a direct link to the Bid Match website? So
No.
the answer is no, because it's a private service that we work with an organization to have. So
it's actually a service that we pay for.
Right.
Free to you, but we pay for it. And it's connected to our internal database that we have. So in excuse me, when you want to get in the bid matching system, I have a form you fill out with that information. We enter into the system, and daily you get an email with what's available with what you've asked for.
Right. Okay, we have another attendee who's in Buffalo. So, yep, we have a center in Buffalo. So please do go to that link that I dropped in the chat, our locations, and we would love to have you get in touch with our Buffalo Center. They're fantastic. They actually do some local procurement programs as well. Many of our centers do, because centers will have different, depending on what's going on around those centers. Like I know construction is big around the airport in New York City, JFK. And so one of our centers does a lot with procurement and construction. I know Buffalo has some great programs based around procurement opportunities in their area. So that's just an example of how it really benefits to be in touch with your local center, as well as with the local center then works with Gina as well, and our bid match system to get you further information. But a lot of these opportunities, your local center is going to know what's going on in your neck of the woods and
Right.
be able to give you that information of what some specific opportunities in your area will be. So there's the locations, and I'm dropping one more time the newsletter emails if you would like to be able to get those in your inbox and know when our events are coming up related to procurement. Okay, so we have somebody else who healthcare is their specialty and would love more opportunities on that. So yes, next month, September is Healthcare Procurement Month. And so, like I mentioned before, we'll have that webinar that will be based for the Central and Western New York areas. And then we'll also have one for New York City and Long Island area with some healthcare organizations talking about their procurement systems. And they'll introduce you to their particular systems, but being on those calls will give you the opportunity to kind of see how these systems work. And then you can look for any that are closer to you, depending on where you are exactly in the state. But so they won't be just beneficial to people in those areas, but there are, you'll get an introduction to how healthcare procurement works in general by seeing these examples. So make sure to sign up for our email newsletters. We also have all of our training events listed at this link, and I will put that in the chat here. So you can see we have on a huge range of topics from our different centers across the state. And we would love to have you at one of these events. And so someone asked, will the healthcare webinars be interactive? So there will be a presentation portion and then there will be Q&A. So we want people to be able to ask questions, get clarification on things that they've learned about. So yes, there will be a Q&A portion to those presentations. So you'll be able to ask these experts from these various organizations for further information. All right, somebody asked about New York City locations. We actually have 7 locations in the city. So we've got Bronx, 2 in Queens, 3 in Manhattan, I believe, right? Columbia, Midtown, and Pace University.
Yes. Yep.
We've got Staten Island. Did I miss anyone? I'm trying to think. This is just off the top of my head. But yes, we have 7 centers in the city. And so go to that locations, that link that I've put in the chat, find the one that is nearest to you, click on it, you'll get that online form and you can sign up for services, get help with all aspects of business that you need, but also specifically procurement, since that's what we're focusing on today. And okay, I think maybe, just maybe, we have gotten all the questions. I really hope.
You know how to get a hold of us. I mean, we put it in there enough times. It's just always, we're always accessible. So please, if anybody has anything else, 3 hours down the road, or when you get the slides and you have another question, reach out.
Absolutely. And you can always reply to that follow-up email that you'll get in your inbox in the next couple of days. That will have the link for the PDF of the slides, as well as this recording. It'll have a link to the playlist. So you'll be able to see all 3 recordings there. And then all of the slides from the 3 series, there's a folder link where you can access all of those. So look for that in your inbox. It'll probably be there tomorrow. So hopefully, probably tomorrow, but just in case, within the next couple of days. And we also, like Gina mentioned, we have an evaluation. As I shut down the webinar here, we would love your feedback. We want to know, hey, what do you want to know more about? How can we better assist you? So please give us feedback in that evaluation so that we can look that over and see what we can do, what we can set up with these educational offerings. And of course, with Gina specifically on procurement. All right. With that, we will close today.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gina. This has been fantastic. And I'm so glad that we were able to answer a lot of questions. And again, please reply to that follow-up email, get in touch with your local center. We would love to be able to help you grow your business with these contracting opportunities. And with that, I'll wish everybody a lovely rest of your day. And please do get in touch with us, and we will love to assist you. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.